The Song of the Scissor Witches. McGinnis, McTavish, McTeer was not one to fear. He relished the fact that his house and the woods were so near. The fact that a fence stood tall in the way only inhibited him during the day, when his mother was watching just a window away. During the night, with his parents in bed, he lugged a small ladder he had found in a shed and placed it against his wooden obstruction and clambered on up without any compunction. He rested his elbows on the fence's top rail and settled himself. He was there for a while. He stared into the shadows and tried to see shapes of lions and bears, or maybe large apes. But he saw only trees and their trunks and their branches. He thought perhaps if he held himself still he could hear something running, but it was a neighbor's old truck grumbling up the steep hill. He glanced to the right, and down the slope he could see the lights of the truck as they came round a sharp bend. As the truck chugged past, the night grew quiet again. Somewhere in the distance he heard a bird call. Could be a wren, he thought, but then another sound from deep in the wood. It sounded like singing. It sounded quite good. The voices were faint, but excessively pretty, and they seemed to be singing a mad little ditty. What were they singing? What were the words to the jingly tune? He leaned forward as far as he could, but he leaned much too far and fell over the fence and into the wood. It didn't hurt much. The ground was quite soft, and the perch he had fallen from wasn't that far aloft. Standing still for a moment, he listened again for voices, and he heard them a little louder now, and still singing the song. But the song seemed different, the notes strangely tinged, and when he made out the words, they were truly unhinged. Scissors and glue, what shall we do with scissors and glue? We'll cut you all up, and then when we're through, we'll glue you together. That's what we'll do. Little boys shouldn't wander in the woods alone in the night. Something, it seems, is never quite right. Something, it seems, is always quite wrong. Something, it seems, he should have known from the song. Yet McGinnis, McTavish, McTeer was not one to fear. Curiosity killed the cat, his mother often opined, but McGinnis wasn't a cat, and wanted to know who was singing the song, and what else he might find. So off he strode in the direction of the sound of the ode. Gradually, slowly, through the tree trunks and fog, there emerged some sort of light, and 3 figures sitting atop an old log. As he got closer, he heard their whole song. Scissors and glue, what shall we do with scissors and glue? We'll cut you all up, and then when we're through, we'll glue you together. That's what we'll do. If you are long, we'll cut you up short. If you are short, we'll glue you up long. Are you a circle, we'll glue you up square. Or maybe an octagon, we really don't care. If you're a 1, we'll cut you in half. We'll cut you in 2. If you're a 2, we'll cut you in thirds. We'll cut you in 3. If you're a 3, we'll cut you in fourths. We'll cut you in 4. And then we'll go back and cut you some more. McGinnis wasn't scared, but he thought he heard his mom calling, so he thought he should leave without any stalling. Before he could move, the figures looked up and quickly danced around him. Each one seemed a girl the age of 10. They all brandished scissors and began singing again. We are the Scissor Witches. Ask us a question if you can or you dare. We can glue you in circles, then cut you in squares. Here is a boy who once was quite round. We've made him a square where corners abound. Oh, come here, boy. You know what this is? We're not making stew. We're boiling our patented horse feather glue. If glue doesn't work, we'll tape you instead. Here, choose your own color, blue, pink, or red. But McGinnis McTavish McTeer was a real go-getter. He looked at the scissors, the tape, and the glue, and said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll do you one better. All that paper you've cut into strips, I'll put it together with just a few flips." The witches were stunned. They stared at the boy as though he had taken all of their joy. "Or, tell you what," said McGinnis again, "if you don't like that plan, I think I can make the whole of Wozan." The witches all gasped and struggled for air. One of them whispered, "You wouldn't dare." A second one cried, "A pox on your clan!" Said the trembling third witch, "You are younger than snow. How can you know about the whole of Wozan?" "I learned it from a man, a teacher named Dan, who himself learned it in Mathematistan." Just at that moment, like a flash in a pan, the boy grabbed some scissors and paper and ran. "After him!" the three witches screamed, and they started flying, or so it sure seemed. McGinnis could run. His running was good. He ran even faster than a deer in the wood. Yet once he had gotten a fair way ahead, his feet started to feel like they were all lead. So he quickly sat down and began to fold and to cut the whole of Wozan. A fold in the middle, two cuts near the sides, a phalanx of cuts, each facing the other, a slice down the spine, and it was done. He didn't wait long. He soon heard the three coming, screeching their song. "Scissors and glue, scissors and glue, you can't run forever, we're coming for you. You think that you're safe from our little caper, but the truth you don't know is you're made out of paper." He'd heard all the words and by now had the gist, but when they came into sight, he just flicked his wrist. The paper spread out into a glorious loop. It was almost enough to trap the whole troop, but only two witches were ensnared in the hole, and they disappeared into the night's foggy air, along with the hole, which was no longer there. But the hole was too small to trap the last witch, who fell down forlornly and sat in a ditch. "Scissors and glue, scissors and glue, you've left me, my sisters. What will I do?" McGinnis got up, his mind bent on leaving, hoping the last witch was distracted by grieving. But that witch jumped up and grabbed at his shirt. Home again, now chickadee-jog, but look down at your feet, you're stuck in a bog." But McGinnis didn't bother to look. He ran and he stumbled, he leapt and he sprinted, out of her clutches, out of the bog, out of the woods, and out of the fog. When he got to the fence, he was stumped for a minute, till he noticed a gap, a small tiny slip, and he barely fit in it. Now sometimes at night, with his window open wide, he can hear all the sounds that happen outside. And sometimes at night, when all else is quiet, he hears a faint song. "Scissors and glue, I miss my two sisters, I most surely do.